Welcome to my channel. This is the Diamond Chrysalis, aka Divested Diamonds. This is divestment with purpose, and you have arrived. Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for being here today. Please do me a favor and click the like button as you watch this video. Thank you kindly. In today's premiere, we're going to address a little something that may ruffle a few feathers. You see, recently, I heard something that I felt was unsettling and thought it was worth a conversation because there is so much disrespect in these internet streets, and sometimes silence isn't always the answer. The internet and social media, as we know, has connected a lot of different people from different parts of the world, which can be perceived as a good or a bad thing. I do, however, find that even though we're living in this technologically advanced world, it doesn't necessarily mean that people are getting smarter. Matter of fact, the more information is put out there, the dumber people are getting. One thing I do know for a fact is that while the perks of social media should lessen ignorance to some degree, it doesn't entirely eradicate it because it wasn't meant to do that. The need to learn must come from self and not thrust or forced upon any individual. The journey to wiping away one's ignorance is one that must be taken by each individual in an intentional manner. If and when you're interested in learning about other people's cultures, living amongst them would probably be the best and most effective way of understanding the essence of what those people are truly made of. Which brings me to the topic at hand. Most of what outsiders or foreigners know about Black Americans or Black American women specifically is based off of what they've seen on television or, in today's world, social media. Anyone with half a brain will know that we as women aren't a monolith, and it's such a shame that I even have to sit here and point that out. As Black American women continue to be open and honest about certain topics, I guess Black women from other countries can somewhat relate to certain struggles, which to some degree brings us a sense of unity. It gives us a level of comfort as far as relatability is concerned. We must be careful, however, to not mix relatability and familiarity as if we were these longtime friends who can say whatever they want to each other. Because even though certain things are relatable, we must still exercise caution with respect to our vastly different cultures as Black people. It's okay to note that even though we share similar skin tones across the color spectrum, we are still culturally different, and respect is of the essence. Respect is very necessary to avoid senseless diaspora wars. A few days ago, I came across a video by a South African YouTuber named Owami. Now, this wasn't random. I do tune in to watch some of her videos every now and then. And I have to admit, a lot of the people that she talks about, I do not know. She mostly covers gossip in reference to South African influencers and celebrities, some of whom I've heard of and some of whom I haven't. Now, I started tuning into her channel a while ago when she was going through a very, very messy divorce in which she detailed basically how much of a dust bucket and morally inept her ex-husband was. He cheated on her, and to add insult to injury, he decided to air out their dirty laundry onto another YouTuber's channel, a rival YouTuber of his ex's who took absolute pleasure in quote-unquote exposing Owami's marriage for what appeared to be entertainment and clout, in my opinion. But I digress. Anyway, Owami from Owami Entertainment had some things to say about Black Americans and, in my opinion, Black American women in particular. And my overall assessment on her comments, I would have to say she was out of order. You know, we need to be careful what we put out there, especially as content creators. Snide remarks, snarky comments, or blanket statements towards a group of people that you don't know or even understand is very ignorant, irresponsible, and unwarranted. Let me fill you in on the situation before we go any further. This is Kay Yarms, a South African YouTuber with quite a large following on this platform. Now, a little over a week ago, she posted a video entitled #Dear Diary, I have a few things to say. In that video, she talked about her career on YouTube and how the very thing that she loves the most is causing her pain. She also talked about a feud she'd had about 4 years ago with another South African YouTuber named Naledi, who also has quite a sizable following on this platform. So, needless to say, Kay Yarms and Naledi aren't friends due to an altercation they had in 2019. When Kay Yarms posted that video and detailed part of the reason she's no longer friends with Naledi, Naledi responded because she felt as though there were lies being told in Kay Yarms' version of the story, and really quite a lot of inconsistencies, and she too felt like setting the record straight. So how does Owami fit into all of this? Well, a little over a week ago, Owami and a lot of other South African YouTubers and bloggers had done videos talking about a gossip website in Cape Town, South Africa, called Cape Town Unfiltered. Now, on that website, someone had created a post basically throwing a lot of men under the bus. According to the post, this woman claimed she had slept with a whole bunch of people unprotected. This person claimed that they had gone to see their doctor and were diagnosed with HIV and went ahead and listed a host of men that they claimed they had slept with, some of whom were married, while others have alleged girlfriends. So why does this matter? On that alleged list, Kay Yarms' boyfriend's name had been mentioned. And the worrying thing here, and I guess the question on people's minds was, well, if Kay Yarms' boyfriend's name is on that list, and this woman is talking about having HIV, what is Kay Yarms' status? Now, this is something that she addresses in her video as she recounts the beef between her and Naledi. And at some point, she puts a screenshot of her STD results from a test that she had recently taken, basically telling her audience that the rumors or assumptions that people might have aren't true. Owami had covered the Cape Town story, and in her video, she too had mentioned that Kay Yarms' boyfriend was on the alleged list. Anyway, Since Owami covers gossip, she also did a video talking about the reignited beef between Naledi and K Arms. While I didn't care much for the gossip on the she said, Owami did say something about Americans that I thought was super ignorant. Hence the reason we're doing this video. Now, I would like you to pay attention to how she describes K-Arm's behavior in the video that she did, going in on Naledi, and what she says about her entire behavior. Let's take a listen.
K-Arms just opened a whole can of worms. So I'm gonna just wait for you guys to join in. This is like crazy. Okay, so the sentence says, Owami, get to the point, explain to us what really happened. I'm just under the notion that everyone knows. So I'm gonna go ahead and explain this. Guys, years ago, Unaledi is saying it's 2019. I can't remember if it was 2019 or 2020. There was a live that actually came out, and the live actually said it was K-Arms. So K-Arms was insulting the crap out of Naledi. You know, she called her what, cloud chasing whore. She said a lot of things. Oh yeah, it was late 2019. She said a lot of things that was not nice about Naledi. Like, she was basically just acting American, you know, like, oh, you cloud ass chasing whore, rat, blah blah blah. You understand?
She was acting American. What about her behavior was American? Because she was being loud, ghetto, and disrespectful? Which part? Is that how y'all think we all behave? This is such a blanket statement to make, and it's filled with nothing but pure ignorance. Are you trying to tell me that South African women don't curse or act out on their own accord? Why is it only, quote unquote, American when someone's acting like a fool? Most of you who make such ignorant, uninformed comments have never even been to the US, but somehow you think you know us. You think you know us better than we know ourselves. You seem to have a lot to say about Black American women. Why is that? And before some of you come for me and say, well, she didn't exactly say Black American women, what do you think she meant? Who do you think she was talking about? She's a Black woman who specializes in the gossip of Black people. Majority of her content is about people who share her skin tone. Let's use common sense here and read between the lines.
She said a lot of things that was not nice about Naledi. Like, she was basically just acting American, you know, like, oh, you cloud ass chasing whore, rat, blah blah blah. You understand?
I hope none of you trolls come here to insult my intelligence. We can all read between the lines and know exactly what she meant. This was not meant to be a compliment. It was meant to be a slight towards Black American women. What I do find interesting is that a lot of female South African content creators, including the males, but we're talking about the women here, do mimic Black American aesthetic when it comes to hair and makeup. Most of you use AAVE in your videos. All is wonderful until it's time to separate yourselves from what you deem negative, huh? You won't admit how much you copy off of Black American women, but when it comes to negative behavior perpetuated by a South African woman, all of a sudden she's acting American? Now, I know that American culture, good or bad, is imitated by people the world over. That's a fact. And no, I didn't Google it, okay? It's something I've observed and noticed in my travels. I've experienced it with my own eyes. I've heard people trying extremely hard to put on an American accent when they themselves have never been to the U.S. Yes, Black American influence is global, and most of you will embrace it and use it to your heart's content. Until that time, when you want to separate yourselves from it. Some of you are out here using phrases whose origins you don't even understand. But because you heard it in a movie or on social media, you then parrot those terms without fully understanding the true meaning of those words. And tell me why some of you celebrate Thanksgiving when you know absolutely well that historically your country does not do that. I'm just curious. You yourself have used AAVE quite a lot in your videos, Owami. When K-Yarms did that drunken live in which she spoke disparagingly about Naledi 4 years ago, she did it because she wanted to. Her behavior and the things she said about Naledi were authentically what she thought of her. A drunken mind speaks a sober heart. In that moment, she wasn't acting American. She may have used American terminology to insult her fellow South African YouTuber, but bad behavior is not exclusive to Americans. Anyone with half a brain should know this. She was just being her uncouth, drunken South African self using AAVE. Let's not do this to each other. Let's not be hypocritical or inflammatory when it comes to taking accountability for personal behavior. Blanket statements such as these are ignorant and trying to paint an entire group of people that you don't even know with that lousy, low vibrational, ignorant comment shows exactly what you really think of Black American women. It may be hard for you to grasp, but we aren't all degenerates. A lot of us actually do know how to behave. This is tantamount to a video that I saw a while ago where a Black African woman, I believe she was West African, not too sure of which country, but anyway, she was at a speed dating event, and the guy she was interested in asked her how many cups of water she'd need to cook sweet potatoes. She then asked the guy, what kind of sweet potatoes? He replies, candy yams. Now, all she had to do was just admit that she didn't know how to cook, which is fine. But no, after he said to her that she didn't need water to cook them, her ego got bruised. She then went on a tirade, yelling in front of other people, acting a fool, and saying how it wasn't her culture, she was one race, she was African, and she did not know how to make slave food.
If you was making sweet potatoes, do you put 1 cup of water or do you put 2 cups of water?
What kind of sweet potatoes?
Sweet potatoes, candy yams.
Candy yams? How much sweet potatoes am I making?
A pot.
Feed how many?
It's a cooking channel? Do you
Feed
put
how many people?
1 cup of water, 2 cups of water.
How many people are we feeding? It doesn't matter?
Nope. 1 cup of water, 2 cups
Well,
of water.
I'm born and raised African. I'm not African American, so I don't know y'all culture. But if I were to make it, I don't know, shit. 2?
Sweet potatoes, you don't put no water in it.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to pass. But
Wait, so
Good.
so you want to
That's
steal?
good.
So y'all both gonna walk away? You gonna walk? Okay.
Yeah. What? That's slave food. I don't do that, babe. I'm not a slave. I was never a slave. I don't know how slaves cook. I was never a slave. I know where my grandfather came from, my great-grandfather, and where all their ass came from. Your ass don't even know. You part of this.
So everything was fine up until that moment. And this is the funny part. Here she was, talking in her acquired American accent, right? Presenting as a Black American woman when deep down she carries all this vitriol for Black Americans. The moment that this guy says something that she didn't like, all of a sudden her ego got bruised because I guess she felt embarrassed not knowing how to cook. Plus, she was really bothered that he had rejected her. She continued to go off on this tangent, just acting really ignorant and uncouth, all the while presenting as a Black American woman. This woman was wearing a frontal wig, which Black Americans have perfected and made popular in modern times. Now, before some of you come for me and say, well, Black American people didn't invent the wig, I'm aware of that, okay? I'm very much aware of that. But we did popularize the darn thing in modern times. Now, you can bring up ancient Egypt or Europe back in the day. That's not what we're talking about here. I'm talking about modern times. So this woman had the audacity to spew all that garbage, meanwhile fitting quite comfortably into the Black American aesthetic, speaking in an American accent. You're living in the US for whatever reason, right? But at the same time, attempting to disrespect Black Americans by using slavery as a weapon and a shaming tactic? Are you serious? If you're so much better than Americans, why are you here? Because I can bet my life on the notion that the main reason you're here is to seek opportunities that your ancient country couldn't give you. And of course you know why these countries are in such a mess. It's due to corruption and the fact that the men in your countries still answer to Europe. And I guess the Chinese now, because they are ill-equipped and incapable of running their own affairs. Let's not do this. The thing is, majority of you are lucky to even hop on a plane and come here due to the civil rights that Black American people fought for. If it weren't for those rights, none of you would set foot on this land. Do you realize that race has been intertwined with the migration of people to the United States? The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 was inspired by the civil rights movement. So let's not get it twisted here. If it wasn't for Black people in this country fighting for civil rights, Asians, Africans, and other Europeans who were considered minorities or unworthy to be part of the white race wouldn't be here today. Besides the natives, Black and mixed people who were already here, none of the aforementioned would be allowed to come to this country. But I digress. The truth of the matter is, we don't have to love each other to coexist in this world. If you think you're better than Black Americans, that's your opinion. But stay in your lane. And FYI, you're not. Bad behavior is not exclusive to Black American people. South Africa has one of the world's highest rates of grape. Is that appropriate behavior? Because grape is a choice. Are they acting American when they do that? Hookup culture in your country is rampant. And these people that you call, quote unquote, slay queens, sound like straight up 304s. I mean, it seems quite common over there to see certain Black women dating other people's husbands and being completely blatant and shameless about it. Is that appropriate behavior? You have influencers openly dating married men and doing entire vlogs, taking trips to foreign countries without a care in the world how the wife might feel, completely ignoring the fact that the same thing could happen to them. Are these women acting American? See, we need to be careful what we put on the internet as far as generalizing other people from different cultures is concerned. Sure, stereotypes do exist in every group of people, but don't be surprised when you receive backlash for speaking recklessly. You wouldn't like it if people did it to you, so why do it to others? I think it's very irresponsible to be this loose with one's mouth, especially with such a large following. My question is, do your 200K plus followers co-sign your sentiments? Do they co-sign your behavior? My advice to you would be for you to do better. Please do better. On that note, what are your thoughts on what's been discussed here today? Please leave your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, ladies, we live in people's heads rent-free. Please don't allow the ignorant to disrespect you. Thank you so much for watching. This is the Diamond Chrysalis, and I'll see you next time. Bye, diamonds.